The North American B-25 Mitchell is a twin-engine medium bomber that played a vital role during World War II. Manufactured by North American Aviation, it was named in honor of Major General William "Billy" Mitchell, a pioneer of U.S. military aviation. The B-25 is best known for its role in the Doolittle raid in April 1942, where 16 of these bombers launched from the USS Hornet to carry out a surprise bombing mission on Tokyo, demonstrating that Japan was vulnerable to American air power. While the raid caused minimal damage, it had a significant psychological impact, boosting American morale during the early days of the war. The B-25 was versatile and served in various theaters, from Europe to the Pacific, and was used by many Allied nations. Its robust design, formidable firepower, and adaptability made it one of the most iconic aircraft of the Second World War. The design of the B-25 included accommodations for a typical crew of 5 to 7 members, which included positions for a pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, turret gunner, engineer, radio operator, waist gunner, and tail gunner. It had a length of 52 feet 11 inches, a wingspan of 67 feet 7 inches, and a height of 16 feet 4 inches. The wing area covered 610 square feet. The empty weight was around 19,500 pounds, and the maximum takeoff weight was 35,000 pounds. Depending on the version, its armament included 12 to 1850 caliber machine guns and the capacity to carry up to 3,000 pounds of bombs. One gunship variant also included a 75mm M4 cannon, one of the largest weapons fitted to an aircraft. In terms of performance, the B-25 was powered by two Wright R2600 twin Cyclone 14-cylinder air-cooled radial engines, each producing 1,700 horsepower. The maximum speed of the aircraft was 272 miles per hour at 13,000 feet, and its cruise speed was around 230 miles per hour. It had a range of 1,350 miles and could reach a service ceiling of 24,200 feet, with a rate of climb of 1,100 feet per minute. The North American B-25 Mitchell was known for its reliability and relative ease of flight, especially when considering its role as a medium bomber. Its stability, particularly during bombing runs or ground attack roles, ensured that the B-25 served as an exceptional gun platform. Moreover, the B-25 had a distinctive tricycle landing gear, which was somewhat innovative for its time among aircraft of comparable size. This landing gear configuration simplified ground handling and made landings more predictable than tailwheel configurations. One of the significant advantages of the B-25 was its twin Wright R2600 engines. These power plants ensured a confident takeoff even when the aircraft was burdened with a full bomb load. They also provided ample power to singularly maintain flight in situations where one engine failed or was damaged. This redundancy was evident throughout the aircraft, being designed for toughness and durability. Its legacy symbolically represented by one B-25 nicknamed Patches. A B-25C of the 321st Bomb Group, Patches was reputed to have taken a substantial amount of battle damage over its operational life. The bomber was known for returning from missions riddled with flak holes, bullet holes, and other signs of combat encounters. Each time, ground crews would patch up the aircraft, and it would be sent back into the fray. By the end of the war, this aircraft had completed over 300 missions, had been belly-landed 6 times, and had over 400 patched holes. The B-25 had an auspicious entry into World War II, gaining instant fame in an audacious bombing attack on Japan called the Doolittle Raid. The Doolittle Raid, also known as the Tokyo Raid, was a daring and unprecedented aerial attack on the Japanese mainland during World War II. It was conducted on April 18, 1942, just months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and served as a crucial morale booster for the United States. Named after Lieutenant Colonel James H. Jimmy Doolittle, who planned and led the mission, the raid's primary objective was to retaliate against Japan and demonstrate that the Japanese mainland was vulnerable to American air attacks. Though the military impact was expected to be minimal, the psychological effect on both American and Japanese morale was considered significant. 16 B-25 Mitchell bombers were chosen for the mission, as they had the necessary range and could take off from an aircraft carrier, a feat they were not initially designed to perform. The crews were volunteers, rigorously trained for the mission, knowing only that it was extremely hazardous. The bombers were launched from the USS Hornet, an aircraft carrier that brought them within striking distance of Japan. The plan was to get within 400 miles of the Japanese coast, but the task force was spotted by a Japanese patrol boat, forcing them to launch approximately 650 miles out. This increased the risk substantially, as it meant the bombers would be short on fuel for their escape to airfields in China. The targets included industrial and military sites in Tokyo, Yokohama, Yokosuka, Nagoya, and Kobe. The raiders faced limited resistance, and while the material damage was relatively minor, the psychological impact on the Japanese leadership and populace was substantial. After dropping their bombs, the raiders continued to China, with one aircraft diverting to the Soviet Union. The extra distance from the premature launch meant that none of the bombers reached the planned airfields. 15 B-25s crash-landed or crew members bailed out over China, and the Chinese people, often at great risk, assisted many of the airmen. The Doolittle raid's immediate military impact was limited, but the boost to American morale and the effect on Japanese strategy were profound. It prompted the Japanese to advance their plans to attack Midway, leading to the pivotal Battle of Midway in June 1942. The B-25 became a workhorse in the Pacific campaigns. The vast expanse of the Pacific, with its scattered islands and long coastlines, presented unique challenges, but it was well suited for this environment due to its range, payload capacity, and adaptability. One of its most significant adaptations was its transformation into a low-level strafer, with modifications allowing for additional forward-firing guns. This made it lethal in attacks against Japanese shipping, coastal defenses, and ground targets. The Mitchell was also a constant thorn in the side of the Japanese due to its capability to raid airfields, thereby preemptively tackling Japanese air power. As the Allies pursued their island-hopping strategy, the neutralization and capture of enemy airfields were crucial, and the B-25 played a prominent role in these efforts. While the United States was the primary operator of the B-25 in the Pacific, other Allied nations recognized its utility. The Royal Australian Air Force, for instance, operated B-25s in various roles, from bombing to reconnaissance. Their missions spanned areas from the Dutch East Indies to the Solomon Islands, emphasizing the aircraft's broad deployment by the Allies. While prominently recognized for its contributions in the Pacific, the B-25 also had a notable presence and role in the European and Middle Eastern theaters during World War II, serving under various Allied flags. In Europe, the B-25 was primarily employed in the Mediterranean area. The challenging terrain of the region, ranging from the mountainous Italian landscape to the rugged coasts of the Balkans, meant that precision strikes and versatility were often required. The B-25's adaptability made it ideal for various missions, such as attacking German and Italian supply lines, targeting enemy airfields, and supporting partisan activities in countries like Yugoslavia. The U.S. Army Air Forces utilized the B-25 extensively in the Mediterranean, especially during the Italian campaign. From bases in North Africa and later Italy, B-25 squadrons participated in crucial operations to weaken Axis infrastructure, disrupting their ability to reinforce and resupply their front lines. The Royal Air Force, RAF, also operated B-25ES, mainly within the framework of the Mediterranean and Middle East commands. The RAF's B-25s were usually involved in tactical operations, focusing on attacking enemy shipping in the Mediterranean, striking Axis airfields, and supporting ground operations. In the Middle East, the B-25 was pivotal in ensuring the security of vital regions and assets. Protecting the Suez Canal, a critical maritime route, and ensuring the uninterrupted flow of oil were paramount. The B-25 played its part in these operations, targeting Axis-aligned rebellious factions and German and Italian positions, trying to gain a foothold in the region. Additionally, the Mitchell saw service with the Free French forces and other Allied nations, including both the USSR and China. The B-25 Mitchell supplemented local and other Lend-Lease aircraft, adding to the diverse range of equipment utilized by these nations. Its involvement in these regions further cements the B-25's status as a truly global warbird, one that saw action across multiple continents and under various banners.